Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our podcast about serious topics that affect our lives. In a previous podcast, I spoke about bullying very superficially in a certain sense. And I would like to dig a bit deeper today and introduce you to what we call restorative justice as a means by which we can address the problem of bullying within the school system in a better manner. That brings justice on the one hand, but also brings healing to victims on the other hand. Now, first of all, I spoke about the risk factors last time, and just to recap, some of those risk factors usually have to do with low socio-economical status in society. In South Africa, we find ourselves in a situation where research has shown that we are the most unequal society in the world. I think that plays a big role in terms of this phenomena that we find in our schools and in other places where children are bullying or being bullied. Other factors are that students' perceptions that relate to a sense of belonging and fair treatment is absent. They have the idea in their heads that they are inferior, that they don't feel that they belong, and they are not treated in a fair manner. Gender plays a role and has to do with the way we rear our children. The daughters are brought up in a different way than boys. Boys must stand their ground. Girls are more or less told to be subservient. All of these are factors that lead to bullying. Boys are encouraged to express power and hide their distress. The saying, "Cowboys don't cry," comes to mind. Girls, as I have said, are encouraged to display dependence and passivity and to express their emotions and distress. Therefore, girls are less likely to be victims of bullying than boys. The prevalence of bullying in some schools is more common. As I said, especially where there's a greater difference between the socio-economical status in that school. Poor families are at greater risk of being bullied on a regular basis than other learners. Learners that are involved in bullying were significantly more likely to have negative perceptions also of the school. The relationship is strongest for bully victims. Bullies are twice as likely to feel alienated from schools than learners that are not involved in bullying. Let me clarify a term that I used: bully victims. You see, you get bullies on the one hand and victims on the other hand. But then there's a subgroup that is called bully victims. They are children that are bullied and on the other hand become bullies on for other children. Another interesting fact about bullying is that besides cyberbullying, all other forms of bullying takes place in groups. A peer group is usually present during bullying, and the members of these peer groups may be neutral bystanders. They may assist the bully or even make fun of the victim. They may even console the victim. Studies have shown that even when bystanders believe bullying is wrong, they will encourage the bully instead of helping the victim. You can hear how severe the attack then is on the poor victim, standing all alone in a group that is fired up to hurt the victim. Bullying is often attributed to personality and family characteristics, such as being hot-tempered and impulsive and even domineering. This is often reinforced by families that tolerate aggressive behavior and use power assertive discipline like corporal punishment. It is reported that the parents of bullies are usually cold and indifferent, inconsistent in their demonstration of affection and unable to set clear boundaries for their children. Bullies are reported to be unable to process social information accurately or understand their own feelings, thoughts, and perceptives. Bullying become then an end to a means. They resort to violence as a way to reach their goals. New studies have shown, however, that this is not altogether true. It may, in many instances, bullies are well versed in social skills and understand and manipulate the minds of others. Bullies have the ability to spot which of their peers are suitable candidates for victimization, and they have the ability to gain the support of their environment. In many cases, the bully starts bullying others to enhance his or her social status, prestige, and power within the peer group. The bully derives satisfaction from inflicting injury on others, understands the emotions involved in victimization. They don't share those emotions and regards domination as more rewarding than being seen as socially competent. There is a negative side in the long run, though. Bullies are then more likely to be convicted of a crime in early adulthood. Other negatives are depression, suicide, conduct disorders, psychosomatic complaints, risk-taking behavior, and poor academic achievement. One may then ask, what about the victims? The victim's status is also contributed to family and personality characteristics. A typical victim is described as passive, anxious, overly sensitive, submissive, cautious, insecure, quiet, low in self-esteem, and having few friends. It has been shown that victims come from overprotective, enmeshed families, wherein independence and self-assertion is not emphasized. As I said previously, there's another type of victim, as there was another type of bully. The provocative or the bully victim, it is called. Studies show that bully victims often violate social norms by interfering in conversations, being impatient, finding it hard to wait for their turn, and engaging in behavior typical of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. They tend to cause irritation around them and in a way elicit all kinds of negative responses, including bullying from their peers. This group is most vulnerable for depression, anxiety-related disorders, conduct disorders, poor self-esteem, high neuroticism, poor problem solving, truancies, and academic difficulties. Substance use or even abuse is common, and suicidal tendencies are prevalent. Female bully victims are more likely to drop out of school. There we have the risk factors, we have the behaviors of bullies, and we have the behaviors of victims. When one looks at clinically at those facts that I've just put on the table, it is clear that the current system in which this issue is dealt with in school does not address the bigger underlying currents and foundations that make a bully or that makes a victim. We need a different approach. An approach that really deals with the problem and really gives opportunities for healing of the victims on the one hand, but also addressing the underlying issues that leads a person to become a bully. How it is dealt at the moment is a disciplinary hearing and a sanction that is meted out to that. And there it stops. And if you are a repeat offender, or the first incident was so severe, you get expelled from school, which leads just down the road of even more bullying. Because now, once again, you have not been heard, and your issues have not been addressed. And the best way you know how to deal with your circumstances and your emotions is to be a bully and keep on bullying. Therefore, bullying becomes a repeat offense that changes the life of children. Bullying can be differentiated with conflict in the sense that conflict happens, it's a once-off and it is done. But bullying is something that recurs over and over and over again. I've developed a model using restorative justice as a means of addressing this problem practically and addressing it from the roots upwards. Restorative justice views crime as more than just breaking the law. We can say restorative justice views bullying as more than just breaking the rules. It also causes harm to people, to relationships, and the community, the school community. So a just response must address these harms as well as the wrongdoing. If the parties are willing, the best way to do this is to help them meet, to discuss those harms, and how to about bringing resolution. Other approaches are available if they are unable or unwilling to meet. Then the school can easily have a disciplinary hearing and go that route. Sometimes the meetings that are held lead to transformational change in the lives of everyone in that meeting. Notice that there are three big ideas in restorative justice. One is repair. Repair the harm that was caused and the justice that is required to repairing that harm. So first of all, restorative justice seeks a way in which it can remedy, in a certain sense, the harm that was done by the bullying. Secondly, there has to be an encounter. The best way to determine how to do that is to have the parties decide together on how that encounter should take place. Should we all parties involved sit around the table and give each one an opportunity to vent their frustration, their hurts, their wants in a certain sense? And thirdly, restorative justice has at its core transformation in mind. This can cause fundamental change in people, relationships, and communities. It can bring about the change that we need and by addressing all those underlying issues that is not always dealt with in a disciplinary hearing. The foundational principles of restorative justice has been summarized as follows. Bullying causes harm, and justice should focus on repairing that harm. Secondly, the people most affected by the bullying should be able to participate in its resolution, in the sanctions that are meted out. Thirdly, the responsibility of the school board or the school as a whole is to maintain order, and of the community to build peace within the school environment. School has the responsibility to make sure that every child is safe within its boundaries when children are there. Restorative justice can be seen as a building that is built on 4 corner posts. It has the idea of inclusion. We include everyone that is involved in the situation. All parties. It has secondly, the second corner post, encountering the other side. Hearing the other side speak of their own hurts and what the bullying did to them, how it affected their lives, is of great value. Thirdly, making amends. Coming to some kind of resolution, some kind of sanction that all parties are part of and all parties agree upon. And fourthly, it has to do with reintegration of the parties within the school community as a whole, and bring peace and stability to the school. My dear friends, you can hear that from the problem of bullying through to the new model that I present in relation to what school boards do at the moment with bullying, that this way can perhaps bring a better resolve to the issue of bullying. If I just think about some of the benefits of this way of dealing with the problem, it is clearly so that the victim is empowered to speak up, to state his or her hurt, and he or she partakes in what the sanction should be. That is a clear way of helping and dealing with the hurts of a victim. Secondly, the underlying issues can be addressed by bringing about or bringing into the system people and organizations that can help deal with the underlying factors that lead to bullying or to victimization. For example, a social worker that can help families heal, families be better parents, help them with the skills they need to understand their children's needs and wants in life. It also protects, in a certain sense, the bully from a vicious cycle of being expelled time and time again from school to school. Hopefully this method can bring transformation, not only in the lives of these people involved in the bullying situation, but transformation in the school, make it a safer environment, and help students and teachers alike to deal with with conflict in a more sustainable way. Thank you very much for taking the time to look at this video and to hear about the new way of dealing with bullying in schools. If you would like to contact me, I'll put all my details in the description below. But you can always contact me on 081 706 0404. I'm more than willing to present this new model to school boards and other interested parties and find a way and a solution how we can implement this way of dealing with the problem in schools. Thank you very much. Keep well, keep safe. Till we meet again. Good.